Times Influence Initiative.
Financial planning is one of the most important aspects of an individual's life. This assumes greater importance when you're married and have children. You no longer need to provide just for yourself and your partner, but also for your children's current and future needs. With life changing at such a fast pace, it's important to have a financial plan that adjusts with changing times and evolving financial goals of the family. On this episode of Nivesh, our financial experts guide couples with their investment plan so that they can manage their finances better and are able to fulfill every dream that their children have.
Investment is a necessity basically for each and every person. So without investment you can't plan accordingly. For anything you want to achieve, you have to invest, you have to make a proper plan.
While we all are talking about investments, mutual funds, equities, probably even fixed deposits, though it is quite traditional in terms, but which one of them is the best? The major expectation from the show.
Bringing up a child as a responsible, successful individual is the dream of every parent. But while parents look into the emotional, educational and the development needs of their child, they also need to be able to provide financially for the needs of those very children. And what happens is that it is very difficult to achieve that unless you have a financial plan in place which gives you the optimum returns on your investments. Hello and welcome to the Association of Mutual Funds in India and Times Network present Nivesh, a pan-India investor education initiative where we are aiming to educate every Indian so that they can get better returns on their investments. On this episode, we are joined by two couples whose children are of different ages, and they will talk to us about the different financial aspirations that they have for themselves as well as their children. And I'm also joined by two financial experts who will be guiding these couples. Allow me to first up introduce these financial experts. We have with us Dhruv Mehta. He's an independent financial consultant. Thank you for joining us, Dhruv. And we also have with us Paresh Sukhtankar, who's a partner with Reliable Investments. He's also a CA and a CFP. Welcome to the show, Paresh. First up, let's go over to our couples. So, Suhail and Sarika, tell us a little bit about yourselves and what are some of your financial aspirations?
Hi, my name is Sohail. She is my wife Sarika. We work together in the same company. We have a 4-year-old daughter, Saril, and we stay with my parents in a joint family. Our first financial aspiration when it comes to as a family was buying our own house in Bombay. So luckily a couple of years back we bought this house and we've been staying here together. So that one financial aspiration is tick in the box, but yet now it comes to taking care of the education and securing the future of our daughter. So that is what is currently the next financial aspiration which we have now.
How many cookies? One cookie.
So the idea which I started investing for Saril was by the time she is 18, that is when she will finish her class 12. She shouldn't have to think about where will the money come from if she wants to do any kind of higher education studies. The basic idea is that be it education, be it some business she wants to start with, be it some hobby she wants to go ahead with. So that's the kind of basic financial freedom that we want Saril to have while she grows up. That's the main agenda for doing all the investment and saving for her.
Hi camera. Hi camera.
So, Dhruv, you want to come in on this?
For your child, I think being 4 years, I think your immediate maybe plan would be something for her education or marriage, which is quite some time away, but you need to plan for it right from now. Maybe if you're looking for some education, higher education at the age of 18 or 21, or for marriage at the age of, typically 25 or something, you have a 18 to 20 year horizon, and therefore you need to think now. But saving now, from now on, is very important so that you could start with smaller amounts of saving, but you have time on your side. Investments work over a very long period of time, especially if you're looking to invest in something like equities, which will give you higher return. but they have volatility, they have risk associated in the short period of time. So time is on your side. If you want to save and save a decent amount for her education or for marriage, you need to plan now. That's the first thing I would say. Okay, think about it. Think what is it that you want to plan for her education and marriage. Set a goal about it. Okay, this is what we would need for her at her age of 18 or 21. And then, you know, one can work backwards. Okay, what is the amount that I need to save every month?
Right.
And that is the best thing that I think today mutual funds offer you, that facility to do it on a monthly basis, systematically, and then you will see that your financial goals also are met.
Paresh, your thoughts?
Yeah, as they said, their first priority is obviously a child. For anybody in this world, their first priority is the child.
Right.
So, and in child also, the first priority goal is education. Marriage comes next, but first is education. So, for education now, since she is just 4 years old, they have more than 14 years to go for her first maybe degree, and maybe another 4 years to go for her post graduation or something. So they've got a long rope.
Right.
Now, to add to what Dhruv said, we can actually work out how much they need to save to achieve that goal by working backwards. Let's say if she was 20 years old today, she needs X amount to go to a college. Okay, that will take as a base today.
Right.
We'll take education inflation to project when she is 20, how much money will be needed.
Yes.
Today it may be 10 lakhs, but considering the education inflation, there are different kinds of inflation.
Okay.
And then reach the amount which is needed at the age of 20, then work backwards with a reasonable expectation of a long-term SIP or a long-term equity mutual fund SIP, and come to a monthly amount which is to be put from today.
Okay. Right.
And you will be surprised that since you have 18-20 years to go, that amount will be so small. So you, as somebody said, the goal looks very daunting.
Yes.
But if you work backwards and actually calculate the amount, for which there are calculators and there are advisors like us,
Right.
we'll try to be accurate as far as possible, and that amount will be very small. So you don't have, it's not a daunting task at all.
Lovely. Let's move on. So, if, Sadanand and Vinti, so tell us a little bit about yourselves and what are your financial aspirations?
My name is Sadanand Khedekar and she is my wife Viniti Khedekar. We are married since last 20 years about, and we have 2 kids. One is Gandhar, who is studying in first year engineering, and Hriday is in 6th standard, basically my second younger child.
One financial aspiration is to buy a house of my own. So this is our house actually, but we want a second home type, like in suburbs, like in Thane or Western Dahisar side. So we prefer a house in Thane. So we are basically into that motivation that we should buy a house of our own.
We are also looking towards our children's further education. So one is in engineering, so he is in progress, and second one also is. So we are basically trying to fulfill their achievement also. My investments are basically into the banks, fixed deposits. Something is there in the shares. We don't have much idea about the mutual fund, but yes, in mutual fund we are secured, that we are happy that our money is in the safe hands. Basically that's only I know. In this show we will get some knowledge about the mutual funds, what are the mutual funds, how the portfolio managers handle the mutual funds. We'll come to know, and according to that we can plan to invest in mutual fund.
Dhruv first and then we'll come to Paresh.
So I would say buying a house today, and if you're looking at buying a house in Bombay, it is very important to assess the amount, because what you can invest in property, very large amount, it will depend on the size, the needs, the location. So I think you must give a lot of consideration, because house is a big ticket item. So what are your needs and how much you can afford? Because there's a wide range of money that you can spend. So the first is to determination of your budget, and that will depend on an analysis of what is my income that I have, what are my current savings, and if I want to buy a house. Once that is done, for your children, one is already 18, is into engineering. For him, I think that there will be a goal that maybe in the next 5 to 6 years, what is it something that he needs? So that is a little more short term. So again, what is that amount required and where it needs to be put? Obviously, this is a shorter horizon period, and maybe for short term horizons, equity funds, in mutual funds you have equity funds, you have fixed income funds, but for shorter horizons, equity might not be the ideal vehicle, because equities do fluctuate very much, and in a short period they might not give you good returns. But if you have a clear timeline, in case if he's 18 and in the next 4 to 5 years you need the money, then you might have to look at some other options which could be more on the bond fund side, where it will be predictable, safe, but you're sure in the next 4 to 5 years.
So according to me, my choice will be that you don't buy a home right now, because it will, see, home, contrary to public opinion, it doesn't appreciate so much. Of course, it is that investment is better than FD and gold, but it is, first of all, it is very illiquid. It is a big ticket purchase. You are buying a home now in Thana. Your son may go to work in Bangalore or to Pune. That time you will have to sell your Thana house and buy a house in Pune. Then he shifts to Bangalore. So right now, it is better to stay on rent, avoid buying the house, and what EMI you are going to pay for the house, instead of paying that, you put it in an equity mutual fund. Because your son is 18 years old, when he gets married, he will be at 28. So you have got a 10-year horizon. So a equity mutual fund will deliver you better returns than a real estate project in the longer run. And then at the end of 10 years, you can decide whether you want to buy a house. And if you want to buy a house, you will have enough money, liquid, to buy that house of his choice, or maybe your choice, in the location he desires.
Well, on that note, we'll take a very short break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Jan Nivesh. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching the Association of Mutual Funds in India and Times Network present Jan Nivesh, a pan-India investor education initiative where we're aiming to educate every Indian on how they can get optimum returns on their investments. Now, in this episode, we have with us two lovely couples with lovely children, and we're talking to them about their financial aspirations and also guiding them with the help of our two financial experts on how they can better plan their finances. You know, Paresh, before going into the break, we were talking about, Dhruv was talking about bond funds.
Yeah.
Can you shed some more light on what bond funds are?
See, bond funds are basically funds which on your behalf invest in various fixed income securities like government securities, corporate bonds, money market funds, overnight money market of banks. So like you invest in FD,
Right.
Instead of that, on your behalf, they are investing in fixed deposits of corporates and government. What is the advantage here is, first of all, being a wholesale lender, they have a rate which is given more than what you get. When, let's say, when you go to a financial institution, they will give you 8%. But if an institution or a mutual fund is going to a bank or a corporate with 100 crores in one stroke, they might give him 9%. So they have a rate advantage, and interest rate movements capture the growth or the depreciation in the bond value also.
Okay.
So you are likely to get more returns than your other fixed income like fixed deposits and post office. And it is, taxation is also better, because if you hold a bond for 3 years, after 3 years, you have to pay only 10% tax on the appreciation.
Okay.
Whereas in fixed deposits, even if you have taken it in cumulative option, you are paying tax every year. So your power of compounding is getting cut every year. And in bond funds, so you are likely to get 1 or 2% more than the fixed income which you take from traditional sources. Plus it will give you a tax advantage.
Okay, super.
So for short-term funds, you can use bond funds.
Okay, lovely. For the short-term goals that they have, bond funds are a good option.
Yeah.
Dhruv, you know, one other product that's in the mutual fund market nowadays is children's fund. You hear about it. Can you shed some more light on it? Would it be something that's applicable to them, considering they have children?
Yeah, so amongst all the fund categories, there are some funds which are called children funds, and the objective of the children funds is, typically to save for the children, for when a child is born or even for young children. And what is different from other funds which are there is that the parent or even a grandparent can invest in the name of the child, and it gets transferred to the child at the age of 18. So it is actually where you are very clear that this money that you have, you want the money that you save to go to the child specifically, gets finally transferred to the child. So it's like you are gifting your money now, but the child can use it only after he is 18.
Right.
So this is something which parents do, and because they know it is a child fund, what happens is there is an emotional attachment to it. Whenever you have some need for money, the parents generally, we find that they will not touch the child fund. They will, withdraw from their other funds. Or whatever some short-term requirement also suddenly turns up, you will withdraw money from your normal equity or a bond fund. But child fund, is for my child's purpose. So it helps in identifying with the parent, okay, this is for my child. We also find interestingly some parents and grandparents, then every time on the birthday, they might add into that. So, and rather than giving a birthday gift, you start adding some money on a birthday.
It becomes emotionally kind of a
and the goal is identified. I said if you identified for a children's goal, whatever be that goal, but that some money I want to save for the child, then you put it in this fund and okay, my goal is for the child.
Lovely, lovely. Well, thank you so much, Dhruv and Paresh, for coming here and guiding these couples. But before I let you go, we'd really appreciate if you can draw up a basic financial roadmap for them. Okay, thanks Dhruv and Paresh for that. But before I take that from you, Dhruv, if you could just run through the points that you've written for Sohail and Sarika.
Sohail and Sarika, I would say that one of the ways to begin with is to check how much are you saving today. In India, on an average, households save about 30-35% of their income. So you can just check that whatever income both of you do you save 30-35%? From that, there will be some portion of which is going for your current EMI. So obviously, of the income that you get, consider that as a part of your saving. I mean, you're paying it off for the house that you have purchased. The remaining portion of the money, I'm saying out of that 30% which you work off, if say 100 rupees is the 30%, and out of that say 25-30 rupees is going for your EMI, then the remaining 70 rupees is what is available for meeting your goals. One is, I would say, divided, two goals. One is for your daughter and one is for your retirement. And then, I mean, as without knowing putting the specific numbers, common sense is divide, into two buckets, one for your daughter, one for your own retirement. And therefore, you could put in a children's fund or a specific fund for your child, and one for your retirement into a specific sort of fund, equity fund. So these are long term. And if you are worried about liquidity and all, one thing prudent that one can do is to create in the next 1-2 years a sort of a contingency fund, which is a pool of say something like 6 months of your salary, so that okay, any emergency, it could be medical, it could be anything, which comes up immediately, you have some money so that your other regular savings don't get disturbed.
Right.
So this is what I would suggest.
Fantastic, great. Paresh, if your thoughts, your guidance for Sadanand and Viniti.
For Sadanand and Viniti, both are around 40-43 years of age. First thing I have to tell them is whether they are doing their tax planning rightly. Because since they are salaried, they don't have much leeway to escape the tax or plan for taxes. And government is your 33% partner. So it is taking away 33% of whatever you are earning. So whether you are doing correct tax planning to take advantage of all the schemes which are available to you. For example, there is a section called ATC. Most of the people, Indian people, try to be traditional and go into PPF and PF, and they put into additional PF. But it is better to take a tax planning fund, which is an equity fund, equity linked saving scheme.
Right.
where you can do a 12,500 rupee SIP and you meet that goal of 1.5 lakh rupee per year as tax planning. So first thing is take care of your taxes because they are your partners. Second thing is whether you are insured enough. If something happens to one of you, because life is uncertain, whether you are adequately insured to take care of your children's goals till they are on their feet, and for the remaining partners rest of the life.
Right.
After that, and in that you should only take term plan.
Yes.
Which is very low premium and very high cover. There is a scientific way of calculating it. Next comes your first goal, priority. This is the priority, which is your retirement, which is around 18 years from now. So as I said before, you have to calculate your retirement corpus, what is needed, and start an SIP and name it. Even though fund is not named in the same fashion, it can be anything. There are retirement funds available in the market which are named as retirement funds. Stick to that plan till you retire. So you should always give names to your SIPs that this is for my retirement, so that market fluctuations and other things don't come into play.
Right.
Then your next priority is education of the first child, which is just 4 years away. So since it is just 4 years away, again same thing, but put it into a balance fund, which is called a hybrid fund, which has equity and debt both, and they keep on rebalancing, and it is more tax efficient than a pure bond fund. Then comes the education of your second child, which is again 10 years away. You can start an equity SIP. Then comes marriage of your first child, which is another 10 years away. So as I said last time, since it is so many years away, you will be needing very small amounts to reach your goals. Don't get daunted by these goals. Marriage to 17 years away. You will need absolutely a very small amount to achieve his marriage goal.
Thank you so much for that, Dhruv and Paresh. I'll just take it and hand this over to them. Well, thank you so much for that, Dhruv. Thank you so much, Paresh, for coming on the episode and for guiding them. Thank you so much, Sadanand, Vinti, Sarika and Sohail. And I hope you are taking back some real important points, some thoughts that they have shared with you. Do keep going over these, referring to these, and do a little bit of your own research, because you got to help yourselves also. Visit mutualfundsahihai.com for more information. Also, I will urge you to join the Jan Nivesh movement and pledge to invest your one day's income per month into mutual fund. That's right, you too can join the Jan Nivesh movement. All you need to do is give a missed call on 1-800-833-666 or visit our website jannivesh.in and pledge to invest your one day's income into mutual funds every month for long-term benefits. Kyunki after all, aaj ki kamai bhavishya mein kaam aaye. That's all on this episode. We'll see you next time with another set of guests. Thank you so much for watching, and do remember to keep investing.
When the child is born, then both the husband and the mother, the parents, suddenly they have this desire to save for the child. So what happens is that there is a desire for every couple, and with a child, they know instinctively that they want to save, and therefore an awareness which is the right avenue for them to save, so that the long-term goals which they have for their child can be fulfilled. So I think Jan Nivesh doing this program for couples and creating this awareness that what is the right appropriate avenue for them, and how mutual funds might be the best vehicle for them to achieve their goals for their children.
Yeah, basically married people with children carry a lot of responsibility. They have to look after their own goals as well as their children's goals. So it gives you a complete picture of how to achieve all these 4 or 5 goals together by investing from today and investing systematically over a period, so that all these goals can be achieved seamlessly.
Actually, we were just investing in traditional methods, and we were just afraid of that line कि mutual funds are subject to market risk. But with this, we are very comfortable, and we will be investing in mutual fund in future. So this was very helpful in our guidance and in our knowledge, increase in our knowledge actually.
I was completely unaware of the mutual funds, etc. But now I've come to know few bonds, few funds which are good, which are very relevant. So, for example, the contingency bond that I can buy for ourselves, then there is a children bond that I can go with, then there is another which is some security point of purpose, there is another bond fund basically. So I remember those terminologies, I have to go back, I have to speak to the financial advisor now, and I think it was a really good experience for me to come here. It was worth.
I pledge to invest
my one day's income
in the mutual fund every month.
We pledge to invest our one day's income in mutual funds every month.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
A Times Influence Initiative.